And let's go, ladies and gents, into Game 3 here between Glacial Academy and HypE Esports. One win apiece. Both teams have been here before. They know the drill. And Glacial Academy still looking to find their first series win. They're only one win away. The question is, can they pull it off? And it's going to be Glacial Academy on the blue side. No changes to their rosters. On the red side, HypE Esports, likewise, no changes here. They are happy with what happened, and we're going to dive right into the picks and bans. Glacial banning out the Teemo, Gangplank, Ashe, Poppy, and Vayne here, which tells me they're going to first pick that Maokai for sure, because they're banning everything else out for Rinks, it looks like. And for the side of HypE Esports, they ban out the Diana, Set, Fizz, Yasuo, and Ahri. So it's everything and the kitchen sink against Ronin right now. All 5 bans targeted at him. Now, in terms of picks for Glacial, it's going to be the Maokai, Jinx, Ornn, Anivia, and Volibear there. So they're getting themselves a whole bunch of tanks. For the side of HypE Esports, they've got Sejuani, Leona, Xerath, Orianna, and Varus. So they've got themselves 2 AP mages. Given the champions they play, I'm going to say that's a Xerath for Tommy Peppers and an Orianna for Rinks. Rinks' top 3 champions are Teemo, Orianna, and Maokai. But how desperate is he that he's going to play that Orianna in the top lane? We'll have to see how that one works out for him. Makes for a very, very interesting odd comp here where the Xerath sort of sticks out. They've got themselves great AoE, great engage here with the Leona, with the Sejuani. And those are great ball delivery systems here. And looks like they want that team fight. Varus as well. Varus is nerfed this week. So the poke Varus has been reduced. His damage from the Q and the E, the piercing arrow as well as the hail of arrows, both reduced here. So we'll have to see if Ray decides to go that on-hit Varus or the poke Varus. But the on-hit Varus actually works really, really well with this sort of AoE team composition they have here with that much CC available. And on the side of Glacial Academy, their composition as well has also very strong AoE lockdown as well as very good zone control with that Anivia. Volibear did slightly get nerfed this week as well. It's very, very minor, but it is a hit in the jungle where he gets reduced healing from his Frenzied Maul from minions and monsters. So Pyria probably going to take that one into the jungle, is going to have a bit of less sustain in the jungle here. So we'll have to see if it really impacts anything or whether it's just a minor thing that doesn't really affect much here. They do get the Jinx once again for Mazir lane. They want that skilling, want that safety as well. And for the side of HypE Esports, they don't have anybody to dive that back line. So we might see a repeat here of Game 1 where Mazir lane was able to pop off on that Jinx. And despite being that critical Game 5, it looks like the teams here are looking to get a little aggressive, looking to invade a little bit. And it is going to be HypE Esports going into that bot side. They're probably just going to get a little bit of vision here and back right out immediately. So they will have one on the Raptor pit. Whereas on the side of Glacial Academy, they've grouped up as full 5 and they're looking to potentially sneak in here. They might be able to do so. Nobody on that top side. And we do see now Rinks and Tommy Peppers going up there. They get the ward just in time. I'm not sure Glacial Academy spotted. It doesn't look like they will. They will, however, spot the ball and know that they are in vision and back right up. So despite the potential for an aggressive level 1 invade, nothing really happening here, unfortunately, for either team. And we will see both junglers looking like they're going to start the bot sides here. And my eye is going to be in this top lane because an Orianna top is a very, very unusual and risky thing. There is a reason why we don't see a lot of control mages in those top lane. It has to do with the length of the lane there. Top and bot lanes. The side lanes are usually longer lanes, and that means that it's easier to run people down. So you generally don't want to see immobile champions like the Orianna into such long extended lanes. So we'll have to see how that works out for Rinks. He is going to have to make sure he keeps his vision up at all times, or else he could potentially get ganked repeatedly here. Mid lane, 2 control mages, probably going to be a bit of a wash. It's going to be very, very hard for Anivia to get any kill potential, kill pressure down onto the Xerath there. So Ronin probably just going to play passive, look to just farm things up and assist his teams in their fights later. In the bot lane here, we do have Ray just now with the lethal tempo. That tells me he's probably going on hit Varus here, looking to try and stack the blight stacks there as fast as he can so that he can proc them. And an interesting stat that Ray actually just brought up to my attention is the fact that he's appeared 7 times in the last little while, and on all appearances he's actually played 7 different champions, so he's never repeated a champion yet in the summer split. So definitely have to see how that works out. Very, very deep champion pool, and I guess that's why we're not seeing a lot of bans thrown at him, because there's really no point here. And Fluff gets smashed, surprisingly, with the level 2, is opting not to engage here. We often do see Leonas get really trigger happy when they hit level 2, but against that Maokai with the amount of disengage, that looks like he's decided not to do it. Mid lane, we see a gank attempt, and that's going to force the flash out of Tommy Peppers there. A great wall from Ronin to cut off his escape. And that's a gank attempt successful as they blow the flash here. And we've seen Pyria do this actually multiple times into the mid lane, looking to blow a really early flash, and he usually does revisit it in the next 5 minutes, so do expect to see Pyria looking back there before the flash comes back up. And so far in this top lane, Ring's actually getting the better of it so far. Rings has shown himself to be really, really good at acquiring the CS here. Has won all his lanes in terms of CS this series thus far against King Tyrus. Probably see him do that again, and it will be on Pyria basically to try and apply some jungle pressure into the top lane. But instead, he's going back to the mid lane. They get the double stun off the wall as well. Do they have enough damage to finish it off? Yes, they do. The frenzied maul coming in, the chomp from Pyria. They find first blood, and that's Tommy Peppers going down. I said we could expect a revisit, but we saw one really quick there, 30 seconds apart, and that was Tommy Peppers going down again. Well played from him, but despite that early first blood here, they are almost dead even in gold, because HypE Esports able to make themselves find themselves lane advantages. They've got CS advantages across the board here, every single lane, including the jungle right now. That's something that HypE Esports has been constantly able to do, and that's kind of why Glacial has been struggling a little bit, because they're never really that far ahead, despite when they get themselves kill leads here. And the bot lane, despite the Varus nerfs, we saw this last night as well in the Vengeful Reapers versus 7 men game. When Varus was pick and played, even though the poke was nerfed, he's still incredibly powerful in lane and does often manage to find himself CS differentials here. And now we are seeing an early back out of Ray, and he's going to pick himself up the Berserker's Greed, so definitely going the on-hit Varus here. He's not building lethality. He wants to be able to stack up the Blight stacks, and that will do very, very well into the 2.5 tanks on the side of Glacial Academy. For now, he does not need to boost his poke damage. It's more than enough for now in lane against the Jinx here. We do see Dobby looking for a roam. They're looking to continue pressuring onto Tommy Peppers, but his spidey senses are tingling. He's going to look to back out here. So will not be in a good position for Dobby to look for that poke top lane. We do see a flash coming up from Rings as he has to dodge out the Ornhorn there. And that's going to be an advantage to King Tyrus. If they do communicate this to the team, they could potentially look for a gank and a kill, because you might as well gank the Orianna. It's no harder than trying to gank the Xerath in the mid lane there. And speaking of the mid lane ganks, Pyria going in once again. Doesn't quite get the stun this time, so Tommy Pepper is going to be okay. But he's out of mana, out of summoners, and has to be really, really scared with this bear constantly targeting him here. Now we do see the chompers coming out. Fluff looking to try and flash over it. Unfortunately, does not successfully get that. Will instead get stunned up instead. And Dobby now back in lane. Dobby has to flash away. He's taking way, way, way too much damage there. And a nice initial attempt from HypE Esports gets stopped here for now. But they do get the flash and exhaust out actually from Dobby, so that's summoners traded by these supports, and that's going to give a slightest of edges to Mazir as he still does hold that flash here. Piercing arrows coming out. It's going to continue putting poke down, but if it lands on Dobby, that's not that big a deal, because he can always just heal off the minions here. It's got to be onto Mazir lane if they want it to stick. And we do see Non-Stop Brain now starting up the Drake potentially here. He does drop a pink, but rather than clearing it up, he's just going straight for the Dragon instead. Has to be careful though, because Perrier is coming nearby, and Ray and Fluff leaving that bot lane have signaled to Mazir and Dobby that Dragon is under siege here. They know it's being done. The ward will show them that much, but can they get anything? No, they can't. They almost pick up Non-Stop Brain though with the Super Mega Death Rocket, but he survives as well, and that's going to be first straight Cloud Drake going the way of HypE Esports here. And for the first time this series, we will not be seeing Ocean Soul on the map, because Ocean Drake is the next Drake on the table here. That means we will be seeing either an Infernal or Mountain Soul map here. And so far, neither team we have seen the Soul being picked up actually, because the games have just been running so long, but the terrain actually is going to be huge between both the Inferno and the Drake. Either a lot less bush or a lot more walls. Either way, it is going to be kind of rough for these teams to play around here. It's going to create a lot more choke points. We do see the Mountain Soul be the one coming up here. And surprisingly, Glacial Academy have not taken advantage of the Orianna top, of the lack of escapes here in the top lane. They've been content instead to allow the 1v1 to continue, and it's not been going King Tyroos's way. He's now down 20 CS, and that's about 3 waves, slightly more than 3 waves here. So that's about a minute and a half worth of minions that King Tyroos has missed out gold for. So that's a bit of a rough one here. We look across the map, just CS leads across the lane. Mazir able to close the gap somewhat, and is now only about 4 CS behind. Has picked up a BF sword, whereas Ray just picking up a recurve bow here. So he's stacking attack speed like crazy right now, trying to get those blight stacks rolling. We'll have to see how that measures up against the straight damage of a BF sword here from Mazir lane. And mid lane, Tommy Pepper is just bullying. The Chain of Corruptions lands though. It's going to be followed up right away with the Solar Flare, and the combination is good. They get a whole crap ton of damage here. And we did see the Ashe Leona combination. Well, Varus Leona, no different at 6. Still a ton of kill potential. And Mazir surprisingly didn't respect that and decided to go the heal instead of the cleanse this game. Now top lane, the Ohm Wrecker comes across, and that's going to be Rings gonna die right here. They just need the last auto. Period flashing across is gonna get that one here. And that's the risk of running a mage into a long lane. You can get dove. We do see Non-Stop Brain nearby as well, but he can't do a thing against this 2v1. He's just trying to get under turret. Will be able to soak up the EXP at least. The right of the Arcane, unfortunately, did get Perrier low, but will not manage to find the kill. And that's Glacial Academy. Again, with a better early game macro, making plays across the map, they do find kills. Mid lane, Ronin's passive getting popped here. The egg not available, but unfortunately Tommy Peppers with that Xerath, not enough sustained damage to scramble those eggs, and instead we're just going to see the eggs pop. He has to be careful. He's taking a lot of damage as well. A good stun to cancel that Glacial Storm, and now it's going to be Ronin who has to be extremely careful. No right of the Arcane available means he should be fine, but the long range poke could potentially burst him down, and he has no fallback. His passive is down for now. And we did see Perrier now focusing out the Herald, looking to try and get an objective for himself. He did give up the Drake. He does not want to give up the Herald. Dobby again with the roam. Now showing up into the mid lane here. Super Mega Death Rocket comes across, misses out on Tommy Peppers. There is going to go wide and will not be available for the next little while. And actually, considering that Mazir didn't take the cleanse, and you can see how bad it is for him. Every time those cooldowns come up, that's instantly going to be flash blown or him dead. I wonder if we are going to see an early QSS pickup instead to make up for that. And the ultimates here, Solar Flare on a 70-second cooldown. The Chain of Corruptions on just under a 2-minute cooldown here means they can do it twice for every one of Mazir lane's flash here. Despite the better macro from the side of Glacial Academy, it is HypE Esports here who are finding their advantages in the lanes. They are down a kill down the Herald as well for now, but they are up 900 gold, and that's just straight off the laning here so far. And what we've seen a lot actually in the last couple of weeks is that whoever wins lane tends to snowball and win the game as well. So this is a little worrying for the side of Glacial Academy because they want to scale up, but at the same time, if they let the isolated lanes continue like this, they're actually going to be falling further and further behind. And while Jinx does outscale Varus, it's not by a lot. And if you let HypE just keep scaling up, they will hit the mid game. And HypE has already shown they are not afraid to pull the trigger in fights. They are pretty good at snowballing their games here. Yes, game 2 took a lot longer to close out. Like, it's still a 37-minute game, but compare that to game 1 where Glacial Academy had the lead and they took 40+ minutes to close the game out. So if you allow HypE to get too big a lead into the mid game, they do know how to close that out. We do see once again the cooldowns come down. Pyria now the target because Mazir lane wasn't available and he's going to get shredded down. It started as a 2v2. It ended as a 3v2. He's back out. Ronin chasing after Tommy Peppers, but has to be careful. Teleport coming in from Rings. And where's Ronin going to go? He has nowhere to run. He's going to get hit by the command shockwave. Ray going to be able to pick that one up. And they're going to get themselves 2 kills as well as the dragon here. In the bot lane, Mazir has to be careful. He walks into Fluff, gets smashed. No support with him right now. Dobby was back in base, so he has to be careful he doesn't get tagged with that. And at least for the side of Glacial Academy, I guess they can count themselves lucky that they're not stacking Cloud Drakes here, or else we could see Mazir just getting dove repeatedly over and over again. Just the one here, the 10% cooldown reduction is already making that bot lane almost unplayable for Mazir lane and Dobby. Now we see a attempted force gank from Pyria into the mid lane. Instead, he's just going to drop Shelly for now. They're just looking to try and apply some pressure onto the start. There's no plates though. I think they held on to that a little bit too long because they're not going to get any gold unless they can take this one down completely. I don't think they can. They do spot out non-stop brain hitting in from the jungle. They're going to back out, and so that's only a 50% damage on that mid lane turret. Not looking likely that they'll be able to get first turret anytime soon, especially given the way Tommy Peppers play, where he does tend to just sit in that mid lane and just try and apply pressure that way. Now Ray getting collapsed on a little bit, but instead the Chain of Corruptions finds Dobby. Fluff gets smashed coming in. The Solar Flare coming out, and Dobby goes gold, and that's just going to buy a bit of time for him to get engaged on. Instead, Mazir running for the hills will be able to remain safe. There's no more engage left for now, but that's still another kill on cooldown in that bot lane. And Ray is a player who the team lives and dies by. He can carry a game, but he can also feed the game. And right now, it looks like he's in that carry mode right now because he's getting way, way, way ahead. He's 3-0-1 and looking like he can't get punished. The poke comes out. Ray gonna get that solo. Fluff not even getting the assist, unfortunately. But, I mean, they're starting to dive that turret right now. What on earth can Glacial Academy do? They need to send some pressure to relieve that bot lane. But so far, every time Pyria has shown up down there, so has non-stop brain. The alternative is just let that turret fall. We do see the Orn Horn being sounded here. It's going to be a lot of damage onto Rings, but he manages to get under turret safely. Will be fine. And speaking of letting the turret fall, Glacial Academy did just that. As first brick going to be picked up from the side of HypE Esports here. And if we take a quick look, it's a 4K gold lead at 16.5 minutes. This is the biggest gold lead we've seen in the series so far. And a lot of it sitting in that bot lane. 2,500 gold difference between the ADCs. For the supports, another 1,000 and 1,500. So that's roughly like what? 4,000 gold. So 2/3 of the difference literally just sitting in that bot lane here. Absolutely massive for them. We are seeing what looks like a lane swap right now. Ray heading up to that top side. They've already gotten that bot lane turret. Why not rotate their lead to the top side instead, and they can send rings down there to continuously clear out the waves. Has to be careful of a dive though from Perrier, Dobby, and Mazir as well. Dragon is also coming out in a minute and a half. The Chain of Corruption's missing out here, but the Solar Flare will land, and they're going to be able to take King Tyrus down. He's completely shredded down. Glacial Prison comes across, will only land the slow onto Ronin there, but it will be enough to send him running, and that is going to be the Herald, it looks like, for HypE Esports. A great rotation from them. And it looks like Dobby's trying to 1v1 rings in that bot lane right now. No, he's leaving now. I don't think that would have ended well for him, and it is going to be the Herald being picked up by Non-Stop Brain for HypE Esports here. And they're rotating into mid lane, potentially looking to take this one here. They are already getting quite a decent amount of damage without even dropping the Herald. I think they're just going to wait for the next wave before they decide to do this. And the Dragon is going to be coming up in about 30 seconds. It is going to be Inferno. We do have the Inferno map here, and that means a much more wide open map with not as many walls. So the jungle choke points won't be quite as bad as they otherwise might be here. And that kind of works to the disadvantage of Glacial Academy a little bit. They want these choke points, but on the other hand, if you think about it, Ronin can create his own walls, so that will be fine too. Solar Flare coming across is going to catch too. It's going to be Ronin and getting caught out there, but now it's going to be Ray in the backline. They managed to find him, they burst him down, and the Glacial Storm doing work. They pick up Fluff, get smashed as well. Mazir in there. Dobby flashing out will get picked out. Oh no, he's still alive, pardon me. It's Perrier instead getting picked out by the right of the arcane, but the flash from Rings able to get the command dissonance to pick that up, and it's going to end as a 2-for-2, which honestly is a win for Glacial Academy right now. They dropped the Herald as well. A bit surprised they opted to do that, but it looks like they're just buying time so that they can pick themselves up the Infernal Drake here. Can Mazir steal this one? Yes, he can! A beautiful zap from over the wall, and Mazir picking up the first Drake of the game with the Inferno, and that's something that junglers have to be careful of. Non-Stop Brain did have the smite available, but he, I think, was just expecting that he already zoned off the enemy team. Junglers need to remember to secure the buffs. Leaving them available like that for a steal is really, really risky here, and Mazir with that hero play for Glacial Academy to keep them in the game. They are still 4,000 gold down, but this is still a start for them trying to make a comeback. And I think for very much of this series, it has been actually Mazir lane who's sort of been that quiet MVP here, outputting the damage on the Jinx last game on the shorter ranged or not shorter range, but I guess not as good skilling on the Jhin, but he still pumped out a lot of damage. He still had an amazing score, and he is sort of the key component, the core for Glacial Academy's comps. They need to play around him, need to get him ahead, need to get him some kills. He's 0-2-0 right now, and unfortunately didn't manage to pick anything up in that last fight, and I think they need to try and feed him a little bit of kills here because he is their win condition. And right now, for the side of Glacial Academy, they're actually not in too bad a position. They do have the Anivia who can wave clear for days. They have Mazir lane who can skill up as well. And that's what they just need to do, is just defend these turrets, wave clear, farm up, and try and get to the point where they can survive. I do kind of want to see a QSS, though, come out for Mazir lane, because we've already seen how absolutely destructive that Leona Varus bot lane is. And now they do manage to land the chompers onto Fluff, get smashed. There's no follow-up for now. Chain of Corruption is coming across. It's going to be Ronin caught out this time. The wall, though, to disconnect here. But he has to be careful. Going to have to burn his flash to survive. I think it was just a little bit too optimistic of him there to try and turn that fight around. With that flash down for Ronin, he's going to be highly immobile. Has to be careful. We do see Stormbringer coming out, Ray flashing out, but he's getting the Blight stacking here. And that's going to be Perrier having to disengage after the Nature's Grasp does not find anybody outside turret range here. And while all this is happening, Tommy Peppers is split pushing. I think if they want to continue playing this, I'm surprised they don't put Tommy Peppers into something like a Ziggs who can actually split push a lot better than the Xerath. Now Twisted Advance lands onto Non-Stop Brain. He's going to flash out. Does have the ultimate available. Glacial Storm coming across. It will be stopped for now, but Mazir able to find a kill. And Ray firing back onto Pyria. The Command Shockwave does find Ronin. He's egged and he will get scrambled. That's going to be a kill for Rinks. Now a 2-for-1 trade thus far. And Tommy Peppers now looking to finally rejoin his team as he gets the outer turret in that top lane here. And King Tyrus also doing his best PvE impression, avoiding these fights, looking to try and get turrets. But I'm not sure he can afford to, because now that's 2 outer turrets, all the outer turrets down for the side of Glacial Academy. And wow, HypE Esports actually going for that Baron at 22 minutes here. We've seen teams do it faster than that, but it's pretty rare here. Fortunately for them, on the side of Glacial Academy, they've actually let almost all vision lapse on the map here. They don't see a single thing right now. They don't even suspect King Tyrus wandering around the bot side. And we take a quick look at Baron. It is already down to 2,000 health. He's getting shredded. The Blight along with the Blade of the Ruin King just melting Nashor there. And that's going to be a 23-minute sneak of Baron Nashor by HypE Esports. And I mean, this time HypE Esports not losing the Baron, and we did see them play really well around the Baron. I am expecting them to try and push as many advantages as they can. It's going to be huge because Ronin not able to wave clear against these burned up minions very effectively on the Anivia here. So going to be a problem for them. And it looks like they're setting up for Dragon, but there is no Dragon to trade for Baron here. It's going to be out 40 seconds before it spawns. They are down now 6,500. That gold lead has steadily been growing here from that 2.5 to 5,000 and now 6.5 here. The Glacial Academy have to try and fire back. They cannot keep giving up all these objectives here. They have the tools at their advantage. They've got a lot of disruption. Is this going to be it here? We see Nature's Grasp coming across, but the tanks needs to hit. King Tyrus not able to get the second half of the Call of the Forge God off here. And Mazir lane being forced out means Pyria will go down with no assistance whatsoever for himself. There's a double kill as Dobby getting melted now. King Tyrus desperately chasing after Rings, but look at how many people are chasing him here now. Ronin has to be careful. Tommy Peppers and Ronin trading 1v1 in the jungle. And it looks like Tommy Peppers getting the edge on that one for now. And that's going to be a 2-for-0 here. Potentially a 3-for-0 as King Tyrus getting caught out. And all the damage is pouring in now. He's dead. Tommy Peppers picking that one up. And another win for HypE Esports. And for Glacial Academy, this could spell the beginning of the end for them, as 5 members of HypE Esports pushing in with that Baron buff. He can actually dive this pretty comfortably. The Solar Flare is still available for Fluff, gets smashed as well. Looks like he didn't actually use it in that last fight. And they get themselves an inner turret here. Where are they going next? They're looking for the bot side. They're going to ignore the top side. They actually have a huge wave, but instead they're going to back off and potentially look to base and spend some of their hard-won gold here. 2,000 gold on Tommy Peppers, 1,003 on Ray as well. He's going to complete his Phantom Dancer here on that Varus. And the Baron buff still has quite a bit of time on it here, surprisingly, so they can look to try and get more on the map. But Ray just going into the jungle. Surprisingly, he didn't go the Runan's Hurricane, actually. I think that's usually what we normally see on hit Varuses, where he can stack Blights on multiple targets as quickly as he can. Instead, opting for the Rage Blade and the Phantom Dancer instead. So perhaps wanting that lifeline, wanting that bit more shield to keep himself alive in these fights, because we can see that they are sending people after him. Pyria just dove in 1v5 just to try and kill Ray as quickly as he could. Looks like they are going to be looking at that top side. The Baron buff actually wearing off right now, so that's it for the Baron push. They only really got that one thing there. A period of the drive-by Blue Smite. Gonna thank Rinks for starting that one up for now. Yeah, just really nowhere to go. Chain of Corruption comes out. It misses this time, so they have to be careful. And the Nature's Grasp going to find the 2 tanks. It's going to be on to Fluff as well as Non-Stop Brain. So That's another major ultimate down for now. And Ronin extremely low. The flash from Ray, not afraid to be aggressive. They find and pop Ronin there. Ronin's passive came up not too long ago. Immediately back down here. And this is going to be a 5v4 defense without the Anivia Glacial Storm to try and clear the minions here. Mazir trying to max range clear for now. Can he find anything? No. And it's going to be King Tyrus picking up a kill turret actually on the other side of the map here. They make it a 5v3 because King Tyrus is not available. There is the teleport, but teleport has a channel time. By the time he's there, the fight's usually over. As Mazir getting caught, instantly popped down. Perrier as well, trying to do something, anything, will not find it. King Tyrus now coming back to base. It's going to take him a good 8 seconds. And Non-Stop Brain tanking up the turret, not afraid here. Tommy Peppers now taking his time. Call of the Forge God comes out, will not be able to find Non-Stop Brain. That's the inhibitor turret down, and that's going to be another kill as Ray just shreds right through King Tyrus. The on-hit Varus build is still viable. The inhibitor going down in that top lane as well, and HypE cracking their way into the base here. And it's still 5v2 for the next 5 seconds here. Are they going to look to push for more? It looks like they are looking for Nexus turrets here. And that on-hit build just absolutely shredding. The stun not finding Non-Stop Brain. Mazir is now online, but instead it's going to be Dobby being dove. Non-Stop going down, taking a lot of damage, but Period dead upon respawn here. And now Dobby getting shredded down. Doesn't matter, not really, because he manages to get back to a fountain here. And they're going to look for the Nexus turret, but Ray has to be careful. He's overstayed his welcome here. And it's going to be Ronin potentially picking him down. He's stuck inside the wall here once again. And they finally do shut down Ray. That's a huge 600 gold bounty going the way of Ronin. Can they get the inhibitor? No. Can they get the Nexus turret? No, because they split their focus. And this is going to be HypE Esports running away with tail tucked between their legs, as they just completely overstayed, overchased, and couldn't quite find anything else after that one Nexus turret. Despite that, though, they are now 10,000 gold up at 30 minutes here, 19-7 the kill score, and they're looking to go pick themselves up yet another Inferno Drake, and this one will be soul if they can get it. So if you thought they were putting out a ton of damage before, they are about to see now a metric ton of damage coming out once they get themselves that Inferno Soul with that burst. As for Glacial Academy, they need to look to scale, and they're finally getting the Ornn items out, but it might be too little too late right here, because unfortunately for Mazir, even though he is scaling up, what's he sitting on? An Infinity Edge and a Runan Hurricane, a Molten Edge, pardon me, the upgraded one. You look over to Ray, and he's completed his Runans now as well. He's got 4 completed to the 2 of Mazir, and Mazir just can't get to safety. Period, flashing over the wall. He's looking for the Hail Mary. He can't find it. That's going to be Inferno Soul going to HypE Esports there. And Non-Stop Brain actually did not secure that one. It was Varus getting that. Ronin now getting absolutely popped here. Right up the Arcane coming out. They're looking for Mazir here. But Mazir able to run away. King Tyrus, don't turn around. You don't want to be that man. You don't want to see that. And we instead see the Zenith Blade. He gets caught out. The stun coming out. Do they have anything more? No, because Rings was focused on the Nexus turrets. Macro focus play that is, and it's going to be Tommy Peppers nuking out Mazir down in that bot side. Non-Stop Brain tanking that one up. Come on, Shockwave finds only one. Dobby getting melted down. That's an ace now for the side of HypE Esports. They're going to finish this one. It's their win in the series. Just over 30 minutes here. Stop teasing me, Pepper. Hit that stupid thing. And there we go. It's going to be 2-1 for HypE Esports. Unfortunately for Glacial Academy, they fail to find their first series win. They end the split 0-6 in the regular season here. And Ray having a much better game too. He's 13-2-8, not anywhere near as much deaths. And that's what happens when you gift over a bot lane like a Varus Leona and Ashley Leona. You have thought Mazir lane and Dobby learned their lesson in game 2. I mean, it looked like they had the answer to it. They took the cleanse. They were fine. But in game 3 here, he takes the heal and he gets punished for it. And Tommy Peppers continuing to be that bedrock of an artillery in the mid lane. And in the game 7-1-7, I think he might actually have the least kills, least deaths, pardon me, this series here, as we saw constantly the struggle to try and take him down from Glacial Academy. And with that, congratulations to HypE Esports. They find themselves a second win of the split here. And going into the playoffs, I'm not sure who they'll face. It will be up to Pendulum and Roriotos to decide, and we will have that matchup coming up at 5 p.m. Eastern, so in just under 2 hours here. And thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed the matches. We are gonna end it for here, and we'll see you guys in about 2 hours.